this is more like a thought experiment. I've been working with Japanese songwriters for years, too long, helping them write songs in English.
You need a lot of work.
Yeah, I've been working on it for about 6 years, and I'm very sick of it. It'll be done soon. So I've worked very closely with about 8 writers, and I've got so much information on all of these guys and their writing processes, and I'm trying to make sense of it. So I've come up with a few metaphors for trying to describe what's going on, or trying to describe the writing process. The first one is called, I don't know how long this will take, so cut me off at any time.
The first one's called?
The first one's called, oh, it is a long title, isn't it? The first one's called The Sculptor. Now, this was about 5 years ago. I was trying to get into these guys' heads and figure out what was going on. So I sat down and I did this project where for 90 days I wrote a song every day for 90 days. And a lot of them are nonsense, and a lot of them are good. But what I did was, after I finished each one, I immediately wrote down what I had done, my own recollections, my own retrospection about what I had done. And then after all that, after the 90 days, I went back and tried to make some sense of it. And what I ended up with was a model of about 7 stages, which I'd like to tell you as a metaphor. Now, once upon a time, there was a great river. And the river ran through the center of everybody's life. All of life revolved around this great river. And the river was the source of life, and it brought life and meaning to the people who lived by the river. And in that land, there was a sculptor. Now, to get his raw materials, the sculptor used to dive down in the river. He would go swimming in the river, and he would dive down into the murky depths of the river, and sometimes he would find an interesting piece of muck or dirt or rock or grit or something that had come together. And most of the time he would just pass by. And once in a while he would focus on it and look at it for a little while. And then once in a while, not very often, he might even take that, what do you call a katamari? I don't know if it's a real Japanese word, but it's where we've got katamari, where things come together. Once in a while he would take this out of the river and he'd lay it up upon the bank of the river. And there, sometimes he would leave it for years. Sometimes he would start working on it immediately. And he used to think of that little piece, that katamari, as a little piece of the life of the river that he had managed to capture in solid form. And it had a certain meaning of the river that he had captured in one moment. So he brought it up. Oh, by the way, I have little pictures. They're not very important, but once in a while he would come and he'd work on one of his pieces. And when he worked, he got out his carving instruments, cutting carefully in just the right places, as his teacher had taught him. And there were many rules to be followed. You had to know the many rules when you wanted to make something wonderful. And sometimes you had to know the rules well enough so that you could break the rules to make something even more wonderful. You couldn't break all the rules because people would just think you were crazy. You just had to break them once in a while so that people would be able to see the new in the frame of the old. So, you know, some of these you finish, some of these you just leave by the river, some of them you put together, you let them come together, and over the years they made sense together. And when he finally finished one, when the carving was finished, he checked, checked that everything was just right. Then he made any necessary changes. Sometimes he called over a friend to get some feedback. Sometimes he listened to his friend. Sometimes he didn't. It was good to get feedback, good to think about it. And once he had done that, the next stage was the smoothing and the polishing so that he could finish it. And finally, he would be confident enough and he would take his new creation down into the town to proudly display it at the big store. And he would put his work on display and he would let people see it. And one person asked him, what is the name of this work? And he said it's called Does It Still Flow? And they said, what does that mean? And he said to himself, and he told the person who asked, he said, it still flows, but now it's flowing in a bigger river. Now, as I said, it's a metaphor. The river, of course, is life. And all our experiences ultimately comes from our lives, obviously. Well, maybe other people have experiences in other domains, but mine comes from my life. We have so many experiences. Now, most of the time, we don't really focus on it because we can't. We go crazy. But sometimes something does cause us to focus on it for a little longer. So we have that experience, and then we sometimes focus on it. But most of the time, even though when we focus on something interesting, we don't do anything with it. But once in a while, we do transfer it into a more permanent medium. Whether that's long-term memory, or whether it's our computer screen, or whether it's on the bank of the river, or whether it's a snippet of a melody, whatever. We can transfer it into a more permanent medium, where we can come back and revisit it. So after the experience and focus on experience, and that transfer into a more permanent medium, then we can, well, this is a model of writing. Well, then we can write. We can sit down, we can actually start working on it. In the story, of course, he's carving. But so we can work with that initial katamari, that initial thing we had. And we can write something. And then we may come to a stage where it's kind of complete, and then we edit it. Now, once we've edited it, we may eventually come to a stage to what I call objectification, where it becomes something finished that we can take down to the big store. So we have just to go through those again. We have the experience, your focus on experience, your transfer, then your writing and your editing and your objectification. Now, of course, you can jump around between stages. There's no suggestion that it is actually a linear process. It's just a way of representing these different stages. Any comments on that one?